My adventure began in the vibrant heart of Quito, Ecuador, a city perched high in the Andes, where every sunrise paints the sky with golden hues and the air buzzes with possibility. Quito is a place where the old and new blend seamlessly, modern life unfolding against a backdrop of centuries-old architecture and dramatic mountain vistas. The city's colonial streets pulse with history, each cobblestone echoing stories of explorers, revolutionaries, and dreamers who once walked these same paths. The vibrant facades and bustling plazas invite you to lose yourself in their charm, while the distant sound of church bells reminds you of the city's deep-rooted traditions. Yet, my eyes were always drawn upward, to Cotopaxi, a snow-capped giant on the horizon. Its perfect cone rises above the city like a silent guardian, both inviting and intimidating, its white peak gleaming in the morning sun. Locals spoke of it with awe, one of the world's highest active volcanoes, both beautiful and formidable. They shared tales of eruptions and legends passed down through generations, describing Cotopaxi as a living force that shapes the land and the people who call this region home. The idea of hiking its slopes quickly became an obsession. I found myself daydreaming about standing on its flanks, feeling the Earth's raw power beneath my feet, and pushing myself beyond my limits. I pictured myself breathing the thin, crisp air, gazing across the avenue of the volcanoes, a chain of majestic peaks stretching as far as the eye can see. The thought of being surrounded by such natural grandeur filled me with anticipation and a sense of purpose. This wasn't just a physical challenge, it was a call to adventure I couldn't ignore. The mountains seemed to whisper promises of discovery, growth, and transformation, daring me to step outside my comfort zone. I spent evenings in Quito preparing, researching routes, gathering gear, and meticulously planning every detail. The city's energy fueled my excitement, and each night as I packed my backpack, I felt the dream coming closer to reality. I listened to stories from those who'd gone before, seasoned hikers, local guides, and fellow travelers. Their voices painted vivid pictures of breathtaking sunrises, sudden storms, and the exhilaration of reaching the summit. Their advice and encouragement became part of my own journey. Their tales of beauty and challenge only fueled my excitement. I could hardly sleep the night before, my mind racing with images of the adventure ahead. Finally, the day arrived. Before dawn, I looked out my window and saw Cotopaxi's silhouette against the brightening sky. The mountain stood silent and majestic, its presence both reassuring and electrifying. It felt like an invitation, one I was ready to accept. The city was still asleep, but my heart was wide awake, pounding with anticipation. I knew the journey would test me, both physically and mentally, but I was certain it would be unforgettable. The promise of adventure, the unknown challenges, and the chance to stand atop one of the world's great volcanoes called to me like nothing else ever had. With every step, I was about to write a new chapter in my story. The adventure was about to begin. We set out before sunrise, the world still wrapped in darkness and anticipation. The air was crisp, and our breath formed small clouds as we gathered our gear, excitement and nerves mingling in the quiet. There's a special kind of energy in those early hours, a sense that anything is possible, that the day ahead holds adventure and challenge in equal measure. Leaving Quito's quiet streets behind, we watched the city slowly wake up, its lights flickering out as the first hints of dawn crept over the rooftops. The city felt peaceful, almost suspended in time, as if holding its breath before the rush of a new day. The city faded into rolling green hills and patchwork fields as we drove the Pan-American highway. The landscape transformed quickly, urban sprawl giving way to endless stretches of farmland, dotted with small villages and grazing animals. The road itself seemed to wind through a living painting, every turn revealing a new vista. The sun painted the highlands in orange and pink, revealing the wild beauty ahead. Light spilled over the mountains, igniting the sky with color and casting long shadows across the valleys. It was a reminder of how alive and untamed this land truly is. Cotopaxi loomed larger with every mile, its perfect cone and glacier cap mesmerizing. We passed grazing cattle and mountain villages where life moves at a slower pace, children waving as we drove by. The volcano dominated the horizon, a silent guardian watching over the land. In the distance, other volcanoes rose from the earth, each with its own legend, its own story etched into the landscape. The Andes are a place of myth and mystery where every peak seems to whisper secrets of the past. Turning off the highway, the landscape shifted to the stark Paramo, windswept, open and immense. The grasslands stretched endlessly, dotted with hardy plants adapted to the harsh climate. The wind howled across the plains, carrying the scent of earth and ice. The air grew colder and thinner as we entered Cotopaxi National Park. Each breath felt sharper, and we pulled our jackets tighter, feeling the altitude in our lungs. The landscape here was raw and elemental, shaped by wind, fire, and time. Our vehicle climbed the volcano's lower slopes, stopping at a viewpoint for our first close-up. We stepped out, the ground crunching beneath our boots, and gazed up at the mountain, so close now, its icy summit gleaming in the morning light. The scale was overwhelming. The peak seemed to touch the sky, dwarfing everything around it. It was both beautiful and intimidating, a reminder of nature's immense power. We stood in awe, feeling small before the mountain's power. In that moment, surrounded by silence and sky, we understood why people have revered these peaks for centuries. The real ascent was about to begin, and with it the promise of adventure, challenge, and discovery high above the valleys of green. The hike began at 4,500 meters, already higher than most mountains. The air was thin, crisp, and carried a sense of anticipation. Even before taking the first step, I could feel the altitude pressing in, a reminder that this was no ordinary trek. The landscape around us was both beautiful and intimidating, the mountain looming above, its summit hidden in the clouds. The thin air hit immediately, every breath was a struggle. My lungs worked overtime, searching for oxygen that just wasn't there. Each inhale felt shallow, and my heart pounded in my chest, reminding me of the challenge ahead. It was as if the mountain itself was testing my resolve from the very beginning. A biting wind cut through my layers and my heart raced with the altitude. The cold was relentless, numbing my fingers and cheeks, making every movement feel heavier. The elements were unforgiving, and I realized that staying warm and focused would be as important as moving forward. The trail of volcanic sand and scree was steep from the start. Each step forward meant sliding half a step back, the ground shifting beneath my feet. The mountain demanded constant attention, forcing me to choose my footing carefully and keep my balance. Our guide urged us to walk Paso de Abuelita, grandmother's pace, slow, steady, and deliberate. It wasn't about speed, but about endurance and respect for the mountain. We moved as a team, encouraging each other, sharing quiet words of motivation. Each step was deliberate, my lungs burning, legs heavy. The altitude made every movement feel exaggerated, as if I was wading through water. My muscles ached, but I kept pushing, determined not to let fatigue win. The excitement faded into respect for the mountain's challenge. The initial thrill was replaced by a quiet determination. I realized that reaching the top would require not just physical strength but mental resilience and humility. The landscape was stark, no trees, just resilient plants and dramatic colors of rock and glacier. The silence was profound, broken only by the crunch of boots and the whistle of wind. It felt like another world, raw and untouched, where only the toughest life could survive. The path zigzagged up, the refuge far above, the parking lot shrinking below. With every switchback, the world I knew grew smaller, replaced by the vastness of the Andes. The climb felt endless, but the goal was always in sight, urging me onward. My body begged to stop, but my spirit pushed forward. I drew strength from the group, from the mountain, and from within myself. Every step was a small victory, a testament to perseverance. I focused on breath and rhythm, step by step, breath by breath. The world narrowed to the crunch of gravel, the sound of my own breathing, and the steady beat of my heart. It was a lesson in patience and presence. It became a moving meditation, a test of willpower. The mountain stripped away distractions, leaving only the challenge and my response to it. In that struggle, I found a sense of clarity and purpose. This was more than a hike. It was a battle of mind and body. Every doubt, every ache, every moment of weakness had to be faced and overcome. The mountain demanded honesty and effort, and I gave everything I had. The Andes demanded everything I had. But in return, they offered a lesson in resilience, humility, and the quiet power of the human spirit. As I climbed higher, I realized that the true summit was not just a place on the mountain, but a state of mind, forged by challenge and perseverance. The zigzag trail to the Jose Rivas Refuge is relentless. Loose volcanic soil made every step a challenge. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I fell into a slow, steady rhythm, counting steps and savoring small victories. Breathing was everything. Each inhale was a conscious effort. Short breaks revealed breathtaking panoramas. The Paramo below, lakes shimmering, distant volcanoes piercing the clouds. The weather shifted constantly. Sun, fog, wind, each moment adding drama to the climb. The mountain's moods made us feel tiny, yet alive. The world shrank to breath and heartbeat, then expanded with every view. These moments of beauty fueled me to keep going. Every breath, every step was a victory. The mountain was both adversary and teacher. As we climbed, the mountain revealed its secrets. Hardy plants like chukaraga bloomed against the volcanic rock, proof that life thrives even here. We spotted an Andean fox and high above a condor soaring, reminders of the wild spirit of this place. The geology was a story in stone pumice, obsidian, and the looming glacier. Near the refuge, the glacier's deep blues and crevasses showed its ancient power. The views shifted constantly, valleys below, clouds like a sea, volcanic peaks rising like islands. It felt like standing on the edge of the world. The mountain offered both grand vistas and tiny miracles. Every detail, from flower to glacier, was unforgettable. The Andes were alive with wonder. On the zigzag path, we weren't alone. Hikers from around the world moved at their own pace, united by the challenge. A nod, a smile, a shared snack, these small gestures spoke volumes. Language barriers faded, camaraderie grew with every step. Our group became a team, encouraging each other through fatigue. When one faltered, another offered support. The mountain taught us about teamwork and compassion. Meeting people from Australia, France, Ecuador, each with their own story, enriched the journey. We were all drawn by Cotopaxi's magnetic pull. Adventure became a universal language. The struggle was shared, the triumph collective. The mountain connected us all. At last, the José Rivas Refuge appeared, a beacon at nearly 4,900 meters. The final push was brutal, but reaching the flat ground felt like victory. Relief and accomplishment washed over me as I leaned against the refuge wall. Inside, warmth and the smell of hot chocolate welcomed us. I dropped my pack, savoring the simple joy of rest. The refuge was rustic but vibrant, a sanctuary above the clouds. Looking out the window, we were literally in the sky. Stories and laughter filled the room, friendships forged in shared struggle. I sipped hot chocolate, grateful for the mountain, my body, and the journey. The refuge was a place of respect and celebration. We had earned our place in the clouds. After resting, we climbed higher to the glacier's edge. The trail was steeper, the air thinner, but the promise of ancient ice pulled us on. The wind howled, testing our resolve. At 5,000 meters, we reached the glacier, a wall of blue and white, textured and immense. I touched the ice, feeling its ancient cold. In that moment, all the struggle faded. Awe, joy, and humility washed over me. The view stretched for miles. I felt deeply connected to the planet. The mountain had tested me and rewarded me with perspective. I learned about strength, resilience, and respect for nature. This was why I travel, for moments that change you. Cotopaxi had left its mark on my soul. The descent was swift but challenging, sliding down volcanic scree. As we drove away, Cotopaxi shrank in the distance, but something inside me had changed. I had walked its slopes, breathed its air, touched its ice. The mountain's spirit was now part of mine. Adventures like this remind us to step beyond comfort, to grow and reconnect with nature. These journeys aren't just about photos. They're about transformation. I urge you to seek your own adventures, big or small. Let nature humble and inspire you. The world is vast and beautiful. Let's keep exploring it together. Thank you for joining me on this journey.